So which framework should we choose? Let's go over a little overview of kind of the current frameworks that are out there and available for us, and compare and contrast them a little bit to what Spring MVC has to offer. So Struts used to be the standard, Struts 1. It was eventually very outdated, and then Struts 2 was a significant change, albeit for the better than the original Struts, but different enough that a lot of people had lost their loyalty for Struts, started looking for other frameworks to use. Tapestry was and still is a very decent framework, but is governed by one person and somewhat at the whim of whatever project he was working on. Tapestry was one of the first heavily object-oriented or POJO-based web frameworks. Wicket is a lightweight framework that sells itself on being easier to configure than some of the other frameworks that are out there. And then GWT, or Google Web Toolkit, is a very rich user experience framework with a steeper learning curve than a lot of the other frameworks that are out there. JSF from Oracle, which actually is the only true standard framework for the web out there, is J2E based as well, and it's a very rich user experience. It comes with libraries like Ice Faces and Rich Faces and other third-party components for integrating into JSF, so you can buy some kind of canned functionality from them. Seam is a JSF framework from the JBoss group that has other things integrated into it, but has a little bit of a tendency to have some vendor lock-in associated with it. It's a nice tight package, but you're kind of stuck doing things their way. And Stripes is a very lightweight framework. You'll notice that we keep kind of going to some of these more richer frameworks and then some of these more lighter weight frameworks. Stripes is a lightweight web framework that has very similar features to Spring MVC, but its offerings and that's all it is pretty much a view technology framework. And finally, Spring MVC. So Spring MVC is a very unobtrusive framework. And notice how I don't say lightweight. It is lightweight in the sense that there's very little overhead in running it, but it's a very capable, heavy-duty framework. It pulls from a lot of the best practices from all of these frameworks we just mentioned and combines it into Spring MVC. Plus, it just makes sense that Spring MVC integrates very nicely with Spring and all the other capabilities that Spring has available for us to use.